Good morning, guys. This is Hamza. It's Monday morning, and we are live. Just like I said, I would go yesterday to see what the market is going to look like today so that we get a better idea as to where the market is going today. And let me just scroll up really quickly towards the options. Of course, the market hasn't opened, so all these option numbers are incorrect. Because the market's opened up, I think we are going to see better numbers. Hopefully this 135, 133 goes up a little bit when market opens in about, how long do we have for market open? Hold on, let me just check. In about 30 minutes or so. So on Robinhood, in about 2 minutes, we are going to be pre-market. Good morning, Lady Lena. And so we are going to be pre-market in just a couple of minutes. We'll get an idea as to where we are in the stocks. But the options are not going to change until 8:30. So I'm going to go over what I think is going to happen today just based on what I've been tracking since earlier this morning. But before that, we need to understand what exactly happened last week. So on the 25th, we had a huge rise on the 10 years, which is why we saw the decline in the market. Now over the weekend, I'm not going to go into too much detail on the 10-year and why the decline was there. All I'm going to say is that at one point last week we did hit 1.6%, which is extremely high, and the rate we hit it at, like the speed that we got up to that 1.6 number, the last time something like that happened, there was a correction in the market. Now, it does seem to have normalized a little bit, which means that the market is now ready for the stimulus bill, and it seems like all that hype has been built into what happened last week in the market. So hopefully we don't have any more surprises. Of course, we have the Fed chair speaking later this week, and we have other stuff happening with the Fed on Wednesday and Thursday. So those are catalysts, potential catalysts that we're going to be looking at when we're buying and selling stock and options, of course. We also have NEO's earning call coming in later. We also have NEO's earning call coming in later today, so that's a good catalyst for NEO. I think NEO's true bottom was at $45, so I think we're done with the NEO's bottom. Let me quickly just go over that just to see where we are. We're at $48, so I think we're done with NEO at 45. You never know, tomorrow could be another day. Hey 2J, what's up? So tomorrow could be a new day. Even later today, just depending on market sentiment, things might turn around. But as of right now, hold on. Actually, let me go and give you guys my thesis really quickly. And let's see where we are going in the market. So the markets, the futures are all looking green. Well, we are technically in pre-market, but the pre-markets are looking extremely green, except for the US Treasury, which is now down to 1.432%. Now, although the US Treasury is down, so you guys can't see this because it's behind my head, so let me do this. Let me see if I can scroll back and actually move this a little bit. So I have these, yeah, so this is what we're looking at right now. And as you guys can see, the Dow futures are up 351 points, which is a good sign. We're up 1.14%. The S&P futures are up 42 points, and the Nasdaq is up 1.18%. Oil is up as well, and we are also down on the future. So the market is looking very excited, very green. This is definitely a good sign. And actually, you know what, since we are on the topic, let's look at what SQQQ pre-market was looking like, just so that we get a good idea as to where we are heading. So I think we are, yes, so we are pre-market as of right now. Well, in Robinhood does allow you to trade, I think, 30 minutes before market open. So that's something that we are looking at right now. So we're going to look at the SQQQ, and it does look like it is dropping. We're going to look for the first few candles and see what we can see on the SQQQ and how that is acting as far as market open. So I'm gonna stay here with you guys till market open, till about 8:35. So we'll have a few candles on market open, and I will be able to kind of better predict what is going on once market opens. I would still stay. So last night I did say that we are going to stay in cash. I am still going to stay in cash because we do need to see volume, and if volume is up, I may consider investing or reinvesting in the market at a later time. Now, if I do consider investing into the markets, you guys are going to get alerts. All of the members are going to get alerts. In fact, I may actually give an alert to all the subscribers, but it's not going to be the specific stock that I'm buying. I'm just going to give you guys an alert that I am actually buying, although I don't see that being the case today. Just because we have, it's a much anticipated day. You also have to look at what Bitcoin was acting like over the weekend, and very typical for people to move their money from stocks to crypto over the weekend and then move it back into stocks. Now Bitcoin is slowly rising, so we did see a bottom at about 45,000 for Bitcoin, which was a little scary, honestly. It was down roughly around 20% from its ultimate highs, which is which is a huge downturn. But I mean, in the crypto space, it does seem to be quite common. We do get these 20% runoffs every now and then, or sell-offs every now and then. So the SQQQ is looking is going down, which is a good sign, by the way, guys. The SQQQ is going down is a good sign for now, at least pre-market. We are going to continue to monitor the SQQQ. It's going to be probably one of the first things that we look at. Portfolio is up. We are up around $5,500 for the day. I anticipate this number to go up a little more as the market opens and these options start to go a little greener. There's still going to be losses, but they are going to be a little greener than they were. Now, as soon as these options turn green, I am going to try to liquidate. So meaning I am going to try to sell off some of these options as they turn green today, if they turn green today. And the reason is that I would like to hold on to cash because I want to invest in SPACs. And this is something that I told you guys yesterday. On yesterday's live, we discussed that SPACs have bottomed out, and there are a few SPACs that have very limited downside. And in this type of market, those are the type of companies that I would invest in. Companies that have very limited downside, and the potential for upside is huge. So actually, let's even take a look at Apple. Apple is currently sitting at, where is Apple sitting at? At 123.65. So not a good day for Apple, not a good sign for Apple at all. I'm currently losing roughly around 40%. Wow, $8,000 give or take in Apple. I think that number is going to go down significantly today, hopefully, if we have a better day in the market. Apple does have a few catalysts coming in as well, their EV car, their EV vehicle, all that stuff is happening. So I am not seeing the volume that I want to see. Hold on, let's just actually take a look and see if we can pull up the Webull chart and see where things are, what things are looking like, okay? Look at Bitcoin run, guys. Bitcoin is trying to run. Bitcoin is trying to break $47,000 finally. If Bitcoin breaks $48,000, I think that will be a new support for Bitcoin. Let's go back to SQQQ and take a look here what SQQQ is looking like. So SQQQ, although on the decline, is looking like it is still higher than, actually, why is this not updated? Hold on, what's going on here? This doesn't seem to be updated. Let's look at the UVXY and see what that is looking like right now as well. Okay, so we are waiting. As we wait for the markets to open, I have pre-market and aftermarkets turned off. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can just fix that really quickly. Yep, there you go. We are gonna look at extended hours really quickly. Just 1 second. Okay, so this is what extended hours is looking like for UVXY. It does seem to be trending down. Okay, let's go back into SQQQ and take a look. Okay, so SQQQ, as you guys can see, is trending downwards. However, I don't know if you guys can see the candles. The candles are relatively green. Let's see if we can zoom into this a little bit so that we get a better idea. So for those of you guys who don't know, SQQQ is basically people who are shorting the market right now. And we need to really trend. I know that people are going to be looking at the stocks, and everybody is looking at individual stocks at this point. However, the SQQQ is a huge indicator and gives you guys sentiment of where the market is going to be once not only once it opens, but where it is as a whole. And if you guys take a look at this, right, we are at $13.90. Now, if I zoom out a little bit here, just so you guys get an idea as to where we have been, and we are on the 1 minute, which is why we can't see it too good. Let's go to the 30-minute chart. And if you look at the volume over here, the buying volume, can you guys see these buying volumes over here? These are huge chunks of SQQQ that have been purchased and are, you know, and we're not really seeing too much too much sale. So what we are seeing is we are seeing huge amounts of SQQQ being purchased and not that much being sold off. So okay, so this is where we currently are, and we are going to continue to track the SQQQ and see how it opens up. Now, of course, as the SQQQ bottoms out, meaning as it goes down, we are going to, you know, that gives us a signal that we are going to, we are going to be in the green, and the market is looking strong and good. We are in a bullish pattern. So that is something that we are going to be looking at for sure. Now, in the meantime, let's go back to our stock. VGAC, I think, is a good buy right now. I personally am losing in VGAC quite a bit, actually, because I did go in heavy in VGAC. So let me show you guys where I am on VGAC, just so you guys get an idea. And if that's something that you guys want, and they do have catalysts coming in. So VGAC is on a tear today. It did go up, and it is up 1.3%. I still think it is a good buy. As you guys can clearly see, you know, I'm in VGAC for roughly around $15. So I'm in quite high compared to where it's at right now. And I've invested about $7,000 in the company, or that is my current market value. I think I'd invested a little more into VGAC. So until then, I think we're just going to wait for the market to open. We have about 20 minutes. And in those 20 minutes, I'm going to cover a few ticker symbols that I think are good. I know that PLTR did have a run-up pre-market. Let's take a look at where PLTR is just to make sure. Yeah, PLTR is over 25. So I think PLTR bottomed out at 23, and that was probably the best time to buy PLTR. I know that the wheat stocks are also doing well today. So let's look at SNDL and see how we are doing. So SNDL is still at $1.39. So actually, hold on, it's up about 5%, guys. So SNDL is up 5% pre-market, and you know that means it may actually have a little bit of a run up. I'm not going to go over volumes just yet. I am, however, going to be looking at just common stock at this point. Okay, so ExxonMobil is also up 4%. 4.19%, which is, by the way, huge for a company that is the size of ExxonMobil, which means that probably all our losses from ExxonMobil, once the market opens, will be wiped out. So I'm really excited to see where we start the day and how we are going to continue with the day. Now, PLTR, my losses probably will get wiped out today. NEO, I don't anticipate my losses to get wiped out just because those calls are so expensive. The contracts were so expensive. I don't think that we will be able to get out of them for a good price. Clove, of course, is a long-term hold for me. As you guys can see, I'm in it till December, so that's something that I will continue to hold until December. NNDM looking good. I think NNDM has also bottomed out. NNDM is also up roughly around 5%. If I go back on the 1 week, that is where you will find true bottom for NNDM, which was $9.62. So NNDM is actually pretty good to buy right now. For anybody thinking of buying a stock that has bottomed out, I believe NNDM is at the bottom. Let's also look at Open Door Technologies really quickly. Below $30 is definitely a buy, and the bottom for this company was $25, right? So, yep, this was the bottom for Open Door Technologies. So for those of you who are looking for another bottom, this is really where that bottom seems to be, $26.35. Now I'm going to be sitting in cash just because I have a lot invested. I also have a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines that I want to bring into this account. I have just not brought it into the account because I do think that we are going to see a little bit more volatility coming in the next few weeks. And the way I look at it is I actually don't want to move the cash into this account, because when I move this account, when I move money into this account, I get, I want to buy stuff. So I'm keeping the money in my bank account for now. I am going to move the money into this account. I think I want to say between $50,000 to $100,000 that I want to eventually move into this account. to help us get to that $1 million mark shortly, soon, hopefully, by the end of 2021. When do you roughly expect to reach the $500,000 mark? So that's actually a very good question. I think with some of the option strategies that we're gonna use, you just never know when you have a catalyst. I have seen, and executed trades where I make maybe small money for some time, and then all of a sudden we have a huge catalyst in one of the companies that I'm invested in, that I believe in, and that is what really takes you to the $1 million. So if you guys want to generate wealth, the reason that we diversify, that when we are smaller and we're diversified into so many companies, is because all of these companies, specifically in my case, all of these companies have huge catalysts that that sometimes allow the company to like 2x, 3x, 4x in some cases, right? Like, I'm going to give you guys an example, a very good example. A lot of you may not have exited CCIV at the right time, but for me, I'm going to show you guys what my exit on CCIV and entrance for CCIV looked like. Okay, so if you go down here and you click over here, you are going to see that I was in CCIV. Okay, so you can't see it here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, so you guys can see over here, it's barely in the bottom of my screen, but my market buy for CCIV was $1,802, and that was for 100 shares at $18.03, right? The reason that I bought 100 shares and not 50 shares is because I knew that CCIV had a catalyst. There was going to be news about the merger. I exited not at the highest price. So now, as you guys can see, once again, I exited at $48 and not at the $60, which it hit at this absolute high. But I was able to exit it from 18 to 48. As far as I'm concerned, I thought that was a good exit for me at the time. So I took all my profits. I reinvested those profits in other businesses. And now, of course, I am down. So it depends on a few things. It depends on what the market is doing. If we have a massive correction, if we have a huge correction that comes in the next couple of months, I anticipate that will be the time when we get to that $1 million even faster, because I will be liquidating, jumping into more cash, and getting those purchases made to help me get to those $1 million quicker. So we are going to look for red days. We are going to buy the dip. Hopefully it's not going to continue dipping, and when we buy, we need to buy, of course it's not going to be at the bottom, but we do need to buy as low as possible, and that's really what's going to help us get to that $1 million this year. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you guys, hold on, let's go on the 3 month, is that this portfolio went from, in December, to $119, right? All the way up to $175,000 at some point. It doesn't show here because this is the 3 month. Let me see if I can pull it up on the 1 month. And this is where we were on the 1 month, where we hit $175,000. Now, from $175,000, we had a dip, we had another dip, we had a third dip, it recovered a little bit, and then we had this massive 2 dips again. So in total, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dips, which is why you guys are seeing all those memes of people not being able to catch the dip, because every time we bought the dip, there was more of a dip coming. We spend most of our cash in this portfolio in this area right here. So we had a huge cash position. We ended up buying right here between the second and third dip, not anticipating that this is what was going to happen. And of course, this happened because of the 10-year treasury and other things as well. You also have to consider with the way money works and the way people work, you have to consider the timing. We are due for a massive correction. The COVID correction did not count as one of our corrections, right? So we are due. It is time. We've actually overstretched the time where we are anticipating a big correction. So I'm not saying that we're going to have a correction. I actually don't see, unless today goes to plan and this 10-year treasury stuff has not played out, I don't see any major corrections just yet, because we've corrected ourselves a lot. But I do see some softness in the market as people are just panicky, right? So as soon as the market starts dipping, there's major sell-offs that happen across the board, which cause the market to dip even more. So people are on edge, And even the institutional guys are on edge, even the robo advisors are on edge, everybody is on edge, even the algo traders are on edge and are picking to stay in cash, just because of it's been 11 years that we haven't had a decent crash, right? And in the history of the US, that has not really happened. We had the 2000, the 2008, and we are now due. So that's something that we're gonna have to look at and think about and see, and play. So once we have a red day like that, that is when we are going to move into the market and make our, hopefully our bigger move. So I am choosing to sit in cash a little bit. Okay, let's go over Tesla as well. The fact that you have a company like Tesla right now at below $700, in fact, it opened up, let's see where it opened up. It's only up 2.4%, and Tesla opened at $689 today. Well, that's on Robinhood pre-market. We're not still live. We have about 11 minutes to go live, but the fact that Tesla is below 700, honestly, that is a juicy buy for us at this time. And from 1 million, how much would be your investment and how much would be your profit? I think our investment would probably be, I think so far we've put about 53,000, and we bought and sold, and I put an additional 25,000, so that's 75,000 into this account. I think we're probably going to be somewhere in the 250 range, hopefully by the year end. So once the year ends, I think we're going to have $250,000 into the account, which would have helped us get to that $1 million mark. Now, the other thing you need to understand is to get to that $1 million mark, we are going to have to play options. So just because I think the capital is just not sufficient to get you to $1 million mark in the stock market. Now, there are some stocks that are going to 10x that we are going to miss out on. There are going to be some stocks that have 4x that we catch, right? It just depends on how focused this portfolio is going to be. So now, because we have all these catalysts and all these smaller companies, that is why the stocks are so diverse, right? We have a lot of diversity in the portfolio. It's actually too much diversity, some would say, in order for us to get to that $1 million mark from 133,000. Now, when we identify which catalysts were the catalysts that moved the stock, and we've taken all the gains from those catalysts, we are going to start narrowing down our stock portfolio. So our stock portfolio eventually is going to be just maybe like 20 stocks, and that's it. We're not going to invest in more than 20 stocks in this portfolio to get to that $1 million. So with that being said, those are my strategies. Also, SPACs. SPACs are a really good, I think it was a really good time to buy SPACs last week. Even this week, if we continue to have a correction starting tomorrow, it may be a good time to look into buying some SPACs, because they do have limited downside, especially some of these SPACs that we're looking at, such as, let me give you an example. Like RAAC is trading look at that. RAAC is already up to $12.11, very close to where we bought it, in fact. So we're not actually down that much on RAAC. So SPACs like these have a lot of upside and in my opinion, once again, have very limited downside. So that's what we're going to be looking at. One of the major losers in this portfolio, one of my biggest losers actually in this portfolio, is in fact Excel Fleet. Excel Fleet, I've gone over this quite a bit, but Excel Fleet just seems to be on a downtrend, and I hope it doesn't end up becoming like another Workforce, right? Because if it actually, I think it probably has already become like a Workforce. Let's take a look at Workhorse. Yeah, Workforce. Let's actually take a look at Workhorse and see. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I believe Excel Fleet is very similar to a Workhorse, to the Workhorse stock. Hold on, let me just take a look at what is going on over here. Okay, so we do have some sells. It did start off with a sell at 8, and then we do have some buys. It is down overall over the day. Let's take a look at let's take a look at Excel Fleet as well and see their 3-month, because Excel Fleet, so Excel Fleet's chart looks a little different. There's a little bit of a correlation with Excel Fleet. Oh, look at that. Look at those candles, guys. That's not looking good for Excel Fleet. So we do need some type of a catalyst in Excel Fleet in order to be able to move this stock. You know, the interesting thing is that although, you know, we are down, let's say around $40,000-$50,000 in this account, this is a paper loss, right? Right now, as of right now, we're only losing just based on all of these numbers. These numbers hopefully will recover. All the calls are extremely long term, and those are the type of calls that I like to buy. Even if I'm going to trade them in a shorter time, I prefer buying calls that are at least 1 year out, or at least 9 months out, if not 1 year, right? Because we are in March and these are all January calls. So these are all I still have 9 months on all of these calls, and we will have enough catalysts in those 9 months to recover and get this portfolio up to where it needs to be. Now, BNGO seems to be on a tear. Let's take a look at what's going on with BNGO really quickly. So I'm in BNGO for 1165. And as you guys can see, BNGO is currently trading at 1026. It is up 5.36% pre-market, which is good news. But I want to show you guys a couple of other things in BNGO. So BNGO, we actually sold at $14.09, and this was a notification. This was an alert that I gave all the members on February 19th. That we are selling BNGO at $14.09, and the reason we sold it is because it was actually trending downward. So we ended up selling BNGO at $14.09, and then we ended up picking half the portion at $12.89, and then we also ended up buying it at $10 at 41 cents. So if you actually look here, our average cost is $11.65. IDEX, GSAT are all good. GSAT I think is actually pretty good. Let's take a look at it. So GSAT looking good. We are up about 6.47% for the day. Let's take a look at what the candles are looking like. Oh, look at that. Now GSAT is set up for a win today, guys. I'm just gonna have to look at, let's take a look at the volume if we could. So it seems like GSAT is set up. Thank you for that, by the way, Roger, and good morning. And GSAT is actually set up for a win today. We're gonna continue to monitor GSAT for the next 5 minutes, just so that we can take a look at where it is gonna open when the market opens. But it is looking good. SNDL we already covered earlier. I will cover it once again. I think SNDL is looking good. Let's expand here and take a look at what the candlesticks are looking like. I mean, it is good, but it is not as good as what GSAT was. So GSAT is definitely looking better. Let's look at IDEX as well and see where we are going to be over there. So IDEX is up 7.84%. Let's take a look at what the candlesticks are telling us. So we do have a little bit of a sell. It's higher than the buy. Now obviously, guys, these candlesticks are not representative of pre-market, because Robinhood only opens at like 30 minutes before pre-market, allows you to trade 30 minutes before pre-market. I mean, before market open into the pre-market, which means, you know, there could be buys, there could be sells, and we don't capture all that information right here on Robinhood, unfortunately. But it's just because it's such a simple platform to use, that's why we use it. Let's take a look at Gilt as well. If you guys have any ticker symbols that you want me to look at, just put them in the comments and I will take a look at them, and we can actually monitor them over a period of time. So okay, GILT, I actually want to take a look at something about GILT. Okay, so here we have GILT. So I actually bought into this company on Feb 19th, and that was the day that we liquidated a large portion of this portfolio. So I sold it off at $16.05 on the 19th, and currently it is at $14.66, which means we could pick this up at a discount. By the way, this company I think is a very good long-term hold, as you all know, or you may know, that Kathy Wood's new ETF, the ARCX ETF, is coming, and this is one of the companies that a lot of people are predicting to be in that ETF. So if this gets picked up by Kathy Woods, I think this is going to be one of those stocks that just does extremely well over a very short period of time. Now I just want to also know if this is a SPAC or not. So for that, let's see if we can get the 5-year and just kind of take a look. Okay, so this company IPO'd quite a bit. This is not a SPAC, so there is downside risk when you invest in a company. Should I sell my Tesla 720 calls at open or should I ride with it until Wednesday? Okay, so this is my suggestion, and it's my suggestion only. You don't need to, listen to me. But if you want my recommendation on Tesla and any other EV stock right now, if you are making money on your calls, please consider exiting them. Just because I do think that tomorrow is a new day, and I don't think we would need to see how the market closes today, of course, but I don't think that we are done with the volatility in the market. And if you're making money on them, I would consider exiting all my call positions. So, and I'm going to practice that. So what you guys are going to see when I do my video later today is that I am going to be exiting a few call positions in order to hoard a little more cash. If the market goes up, we can always jump back in. If the market goes down, it would be even better to jump back in with a little more cash. So nothing really to lose. If you could tell us at what price you got into that contract, maybe we can take a look at what was your contract worth. Let's take a look at the contracts and see what they're worth, right? For, did you say the 720 calls for March? Yeah, let's take a look at them. Okay, so we are looking at the 720 calls for March. So they're currently trading at about $8.50. What did you buy? What was your price on the call? Let us know what your price was on the call, and then maybe we can make a better decision on whether you should sell, hold, buy, or I think in some cases you could probably even roll the contract over, just depending on what you really want to do. Got it, Friday close 975. That's a little high. Let's just see how market opens. Market should open, let's see how market opens, and then we can take it from there. I think, how many minutes do we have? Oh, market is open. What do you know? Okay, so we are actually at market open right now. Let's see what happens with the portfolio. Let's see where we are going. So guys, market is opening. Is the market open? Can you guys see? Because my oh, there you go. Okay, I think we are seeing a run up, which means the market is officially open, and we are at 135,500. Okay, everything is adjusting, everything is getting readjusted. The options are starting to kick in now. Portfolio is up $7,479 for the day. Okay, we are at 136. It does seem like the options are now starting to readjust. Okay, the options are starting to readjust. I can see those numbers moving. ExxonMobil is in the green, guys. We are officially, this is our first contract that is in the green for the day, which means we are out of here. Okay, let's see what we did. We have a total return for the day of 16%. My return for the day is $130. Market is open. Okay, so let's take a look at those Tesla calls and where they're gonna end up right now, since we are actually here, and I am actually going to be exiting some of these calls. Okay, let me just exit these calls real quick, guys. And so I can be out of this and out of it. 405, review order, submit. Okay, just hold on. I do need to exit these calls, guys, so I am going to be working towards exiting my calls, and this is something that I usually do, like hold on. Now before I do that, I probably should keep the code to myself. So hold on, let me just quickly exit these and see if they execute. All right, so I am executing all my green calls, as you guys can see, because I do want to sit on a little bit of cash. So once this sells, and hopefully it does, and it does get executed, I will be sitting on a little more cash. I am also going to be executing my open door greens, and let's see what else we got. Okay, so Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing fairly well, which is why we have stuff that's happening today. Okay, so I think my calls are going to execute fairly soon. We're just going to wait on that and see how it ends up. All right, guys, So markets open, things are looking good. I'm gonna be sitting on a little more cash, and I'm gonna be trying to buy some SPACs. For those of you who are members, I am gonna be posting alerts throughout the day, whether I buy, sell, or hold on each one of my positions live right here. If you want to become members, guys, you can become members by hitting the join button. It's right next to the subscribe button, and I believe it's something like $4.99 a month, and you get live alerts for that and member only content. We have a lot of members in the group, and it's been an amazing and awesome experience so far. So as of today, we are currently up 6.45%. We're up $8,200 for the day since last week, and you know, as you guys saw, I am personally liquidating a couple of things to hold on to a little more cash, just so that I can buy the dips if they occur. Open, okay, so open, we do have Myrtle talking about open. Open is actually my personal favorite for 2021. Open is at a great buy position right now at right below $30. I believe that this is where open bottomed out. In fact, let's go and take a look at where open truly bottomed out, which was right here, and that was $25. I think that was the true bottom for Open Door Technologies, and you know, that was and as you guys can see, once again, my average price is $25.91. So that's something that, you know, I think that ship has sailed, and I think open is still a good buy at current pricing. So we're gonna look into that. We're gonna hold on to open for a little bit more. We will probably end up exiting open today and then re-entering it when we see a little more volume in the market. Actually, let's take a look at what the open door candles look like. Okay, so we do have some larger candles, which means, what's the volume? 5,900. Okay, it's not enough obviously to move anything, but it is nonetheless a positive candle for open door. So we are gonna be, you know, oh, there you go, open door is up. Whoever bought open door contracts right now is probably making a bunch of money. In fact, let's see if we can look at some contracts, because it may be a good day to get into some contracts and then get out of them. Let's see if we can jump into some contracts. Let's take a look. So before we jump into the contracts, let's just take a look at the RSI and the MACDs as well. Okay, so PLTR looking good. I think PLTR will continue to gain a little bit of momentum later today. So I may consider jumping into some contracts. Either way, whatever I do, I'm going to keep you guys alerted, and I'm going to keep you guys notified, and hopefully we can make some money today and recoup some of those losses, okay?